all you Thai beanie babies and He-Man woman haters. Welcome to a show that introduces you to an exploratory expedition into the fuzzy wuzzy world of the furry fandom for what it's worth. In this episode, we're talking about the past, mainly our childhood. Things that we loved growing up with and may or may not have made us into the furries we are today. Just like a true child of the sun. Um well, we're gonna share our toys with you. Here you go. You can have this one. This one's my favorite. Now, were you more of a He-Man fan, or were you Team Thundercats, Dumbo Circus, or the Banana Split Gang? Either way, hang on to your diapers, babies. It's gonna be a long trip into nostalgia.
Yay!
Yay.
I was not ready for that in any way.
You're never ready.
Oh my god, that I had to contain myself.
So yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, kids.
Wow.
It's your uncle here. Remember those toys I used to get you?
We're crushing it
No.
on this intro, by the way.
Killing it.
Yay, good job.
Who's running this show?
Nobody.
The oldest one in the room.
Am I? I think I am.
I think you are.
Fine then, I'll start picking on the youngest one. What you been doing lately, Charlie?
Oh, shoot. What up? It's me. It's your boy, Chucko. As of the last recording, I have been taking on a new work shift where I now work throughout the night instead of the afternoons, and it's been a
Oh,
lot of
shift.
shift.
Shift happens.
We knew work shift,
I
and
mean,
it's
it's work. They're always shift. I mean,
true.
Shit. No,
There's always a lot of stuff. But no. So I've been working out throughout the nights instead of in the afternoons like I used to do, and it's a lot of fun. We get to do a lot of train recoveries. We get a lot of bring back broken trains. We get a lot of staging trains, testing trains, fixing trains. It's a lot of fun. So it's
Hey,
a different
Charlie.
twist. Hmm?
Hey, Charlie. Do you
Yeah.
like trains?
I actually really enjoy trains. I think they're really neat.
I was waiting for you to be like, oh, I could take him or leave him.
Yeah.
All right.
They're mid at best. But no, trains are pretty sick. Other than that, just getting my stomach prepared for the fattening this here Thursday, preparing oneself for all the delicious munchies and crunchies that will be coming our way. Speaking of crunchies and
Oh,
or
is that-
munchies,
Is that next weekend? I thought it was this weekend for a
that
minute.
is this Thursday.
Oh, okay.
We are
Happy
ready
early.
for the American Thanksgiving. And everyone will say things like, I am so thankful for you. And I'll be like, well, I wasn't really thankful for you, but that's okay. But now from the youngest to the oldest person. How are you doing?
You really like rubbing that in, don't you?
Yeah, it's funny.
It's funny.
It's funny.
Not from this end. Not a whole lot new. The new farm sim came out. It's good. I've been playing it. The new flight sim came out. It sucks. I've been trying to play it.
But
Like-
you didn't.
Yeah, the farm sim works great, but the flight sim, yeah, Microsoft needs to get their game together.
But
But that's about all I've been doing. Work and coming home
Hey.
and pretending to work.
yeah, that's always the thing. Is like you're like, I go home, I go to work, do work things, come home, play games that are technically work
Do-
things.
Do virtual work things.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find that silly, but that's okay.
So what about our resident Canadian?
I know we haven't
Uh,
seen him for a while.
It's been
Yeah.
a while. It's been a bit.
Yes, basically, there's been a few things going on. But lately I've been playing a whole shit ton of Frosthaven with my roommates. We're like 2.5 years into a Frosthaven campaign in game time, but a year in real time. Loving it. I guess I've been absent for a while because not last weekend, but the weekend before, I was in California. I was giving a furry talk at Stanford University and Berkeley. So
Wow.
the furries of Stanford and furries of Berkeley were kind enough to bring me to their campuses and take me in for about a week. So that was exciting. I got to explore the Bay region, which was beautiful, especially considering it's cold as hell in Canada right now. It was nice to get away for a bit. Yeah, other than that, I've been I've been fighting tooth and nail and losing against ChatGPT. It's my as a university professor, the bane of my existence right now is online exams because I discovered that a bunch of my students could copy and paste my exam questions into ChatGPT and get reasonable approximations of the answers.
Yeah.
and I spent the week sort of fighting it, only to come to the conclusion that next year I'm just going to have to abandon online exams altogether and just go with in-person exams, which sucks because it's going to reduce the accommodations and accessibility for the exams. But I mean, if I don't do that, then pretty soon, literally everyone can just use ChatGPT, and there's no point in having an exam. So,
Right.
yeah,
Technology made technology obsolete.
yeah, unfortunately.
That's
That
when you
sucks.
come around full circle. Oh,
Yeah. It kind of disappointed me a little bit. Like I like to believe my students are like all here to learn, and that's probably painfully idealistic of me. But man, kind of bummed me out to see that 15% of my class just didn't even care enough to put in an effort. Like man,
Yeah.
so that kind of
So,
sucks.
so like even 10 years ago, did you ever figure you would hear the sentence, "I gave a furry talk at Stanford"?
yeah, right.
That was I admit that was surreal. It was weird because I was like Stanford University is like the a mecca to social psychologists. There's only one other university I think that has more. It's more hallowed ground for social psychology. Some of you might be familiar with the prison experiment that was done by Phil Zimbardo, the one where they created a prison in the basement of the psychology
Oh yeah.
department. That happened
My
at
wife was-
Stanford.
My wife was just telling me about that the other day.
My wife.
Apparently, they apparently they made a show on
Yeah, there's been a
Hulu or
documentary
Netflix.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
was like,
I was actually there. I
really?
went there to the basement of the psych department. They have a little plaque there saying this is where it happened. So that was pretty neat.
This is where people lost their mind.
Yeah, that shit's fucked.
Well, and it was very it felt very very nice to be able to do it too because Phil Zimbardo, the guy who did the study, passed away just a couple of months ago,
Oh
and
wow.
was like a living legend to the field of social psychology. So yeah, it was kind of neat to be there. But then yeah, to be at this school with so much prestige in social psychology, only to be there going to give a furry talk there.
Right.
It was well attended too. The furs were great there. There was some non-furs in the audience too, so we had a blast.
Good.
What about you, Sammy?
About me. Well, my last couple weeks have been filled with dealing with lots of personal things that came up in ways that I wish never happened. But hopefully that's done now and processing and moving on can happen. Other than that, in the free time / energy I did have, I finally finished Heaven's Sword expansion of Final Fantasy 14, which was awesome. That end of that is so good, and the music per Final Fantasy is fucking amazing. So I get to move on to Shadowbringers, which everybody tells me is the worst one.
That's
So-
reason
Well,
enough to play
you're
it.
supposed to start with the worst one, so it's over.
I know, that's everybody's like, everyone's like, yeah, Heaven's Sword is great. Good luck in Shadowbringers. I'm like, oh, fuck me. So, I see Eli says the other, but that's just what I've been told. I haven't played Shadowbringers, so I will make my own opinions when I get there. But yeah, other than that, it's just been lots of time doing other things that took up a lot of time. But Voss, what have you been doing? I heard you've been having a great time with the flight simulator.
Oh yeah, let me tell you all about it. I've had a good time. It started out fine, like everything worked fine on it to start out, and then they patched it the other day, and now whenever I load in, it just loads me into a hangar, says I crashed, and docks me points.
Just like in
Awesome.
real life.
So
Mhm.
I can't play it at all anymore. So I just
Aw.
had to move on with other things for now. But
Is it the kind of thing they're gonna patch and fix, or is this like they're giving up on it?
it should be patched and fixed. I'm just giving up on it for right now.
Hmm.
As I say, it's like brand new, so they better be patching it.
Yeah. And then, good news, bad news. Good news.
All
The plane
news?
engine's done.
Yay!
Yay. Bad news. I'm trying to get all the paperwork and everything and the financing all together to send it so it can get here.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good news, it's done. Bad news, we have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Yay.
Where did it have to go to be repaired?
At the factory in, what was it, Pennsylvania?
Ooh.
Yeah. There's only
So you
one.
got-
There's one engine manufacturer and one factory in all of the U.S.
Wow. That's wild.
So,
And it's not in Utah, apparently.
and it
Yeah.
has to be all that FAA certified signatures, parts, everything has to go through them.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's called a monopoly.
Yeah.
Why are planes so expensive?
I don't know, but yeah, that's been my life.
It's now or never.
No,
I
we
could
should
forever.
we should do our regular segment that. Oh no! Somebody
was-
broke the cookie jar.
I was gonna say there's no snacks today.
What are you talking about? You're all snacks.
How are we gonna do Rue's cookie when Rue's off in the corner pouting about his broken cookie jar?
Proud as cookies.
We can make a fortune one word at a time.
One word at a
We could do one word improv? Oh, I love that game.
Oh boy.
But what's the turn order?
Oldest to youngest.
Ah,
Oldest
shit.
kid.
I have to
Who is
determine the
who's
fate.
that then?
Well, obviously I would be first. I think it would be me,
Nuka.
probably
I'm
Nuka.
38, so
Oh, dang it.
Sammy and Voss are kind of a toss-up.
I'm 35.
So it would be me, Nuka, Sammy, Voss, Charlie.
Yeah.
all right.
Sick.
I do it.
Right. So sometimes
You
Want.
Leave me out of this. I'm working.
Ow.
That's
Alright,
the
boss.
fortune.
sometimes you want to leave me out of
I'm
this.
working.
in bed with a cookie.
In bed with
In
a
bed
cookie.
With a cookie.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
That was a good cookie time.
That was good.
Man, who knew they could expand the word count on those things?
This is what happens when Rue isn't here.
I mean,
We just don't have any cookies.
we just don't have cookies. I'm like, I was gonna say chaos ensues, but chaos also happens when he's here. So
Yeah, that doesn't change much.
So, should we just jump into the main topic then?
We should. Let's talk about the good old days.
Back in my day.
Ah, where'd I go? There I are.
Back in my day.
Back in my day. So, growing up, right? Obviously, I didn't. We've talked about like
Obviously,
why. So we talked about why we joined the fandom or how we joined the fandom in other episodes, right? So thinking back, there's so much stuff, especially for me, growing up in the 80s and 90s, that basically turned me into a furry without even realizing it.
Mhm.
Like, so like what made you a furry before you knew you were,
yeah.
kind of thing?
I always talk about this when I'm giving my research talk. How no one thing causes people to be furries, but oftentimes the hints are there, or there's something from your past where you go, oh, you know what? I think I might know what might have started me down that path.
You
Right.
know, I blame corporate America.
I blame
A lot
Or
of
the
these things are-
entertainment industry. No, that's it. I blame the entertainment industry.
But I think a lot of the things today that we'll talk about are things that like this is before. I mean, the furry fandom has existed for a while, but this was like, these things weren't decidedly associated with the furry fandom. They were just things that were floating around in society, uh, or in media that again weren't associated with furries. But in hindsight, years later, people go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, and that kind of brings up a big kind of it kind of the chicken and the egg thing, right? So, did the furry fandom kind of come out of all this in the 80s and 90s?
I mean, if you want to talk furry history, I mean, you can quibble with the furry historians who would put it, a little further back, and say it had more to do with not with like specific shows per se, but had more to do with like independent publications and zines and people who
Right.
would write stories or do comics or artwork. Um,
So
yeah,
maybe it's more of a, I don't know. I kind of want to say boomer thing. Like the baby boomers came out of the post-war era, right? That's where the baby boomers came from because they came back from the war and they wanted to have kids and a family. So maybe it's the furry's kind of the same thing, right? The fandom was around. You had the specific, like you said, zines and chat rooms and stuff like that. But all this media and stuff in the 80s and 90s created the wider, more
it
public
sowed the
facing
seeds.
generation.
It sowed the seeds for what would
Right.
become, another generation of furries.
Right.
Let's start with let's give some examples. I think it's one thing to speak in abstract, but we can like point to we start like television shows, for example.
Specifics.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the thing, right? If you grew up like I did in the 80s, I mean, yeah, it was, TMNT, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, was
Yeah.
huge. That's when it
I think
started.
they're
It was
still around today
gigantic.
too, right? Not like the
Right.
original series, but they're still going. Like an 8-year-old today can still watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think
Right.
some new
Well, the
generation of it.
movies, the movies. Honestly, I've watched the new movies. I think it was Michael Bay, and it's like, it's yeah, whatever. It's a movie.
it's a
The,
movie.
the most
Like it's
recent
nothing like they
movie,
were, but
the most recent movie where
still,
they're like younger and they have that different art style, like Spider
yeah.
Verse, was really good.
Was it?
But back
Oh,
in
the animated.
Yeah.
the day, like the 80s and the 90s cartoons. I mean, I was raised on. I grew up on that.
Oh yeah, it was huge.
My brother and I would fight. We'd all, pretend to be. Obviously, Michelangelo was the best turtle, and we'd fight with each other, pretending to be turtles, and we'd wrestle and stuff, and our parents get
Mostly,
pissed off. But
mostly because he was orange.
I think it was like because he liked pizza, and I was young and stupid, and I thought I like pizza, so I can relate to that.
I can relate. Right. Well, and I mean, come on, let's be fair. The coolest thing to play with as a kid was nunchucks.
Well, and I was okay. I'm going to totally betray now my lack of. It's been so many years. Was it Leonardo who had the bow staff?
No, that was Donatello.
Donatello was Donatello. Okay, can never. I always thought that the bow staff was so boring. I'm like, it's a stick.
It's a stick.
It's the dumbest weapon ever.
That's
Which
so
is why they
funny.
made him the smart one.
Yeah, I was gonna say they explain that a lot throughout every iteration. They show that he's the smartest one, and he explains why he has the staff. It's because he's able to do. It's more with his mind that he has to think about than what is brought on.
Do
But
more with
Two
less.
swords and 2 nunchucks.
but I was 8 years old, and I did not want. No one wanted to be the smart one. You were 8. You wanted to be the funny one, or you wanted to be the one with the pointy sticks.
Right.
I
Right.
love being the pointy sticks.
So,
But
as
that's anthropomorphized turtles. I mean, come on.
yeah. Well, here's a thought I had while you guys were talking, and especially thinking about the boom of kids and things. Even then, a lot of the times when we're making something for children or for for kids for
For babies.
for entertainment or whatever, I feel like there's always this want to go to something cute and friendly and
Right. Well, just like Tim had said,
safe.
the
Yeah,
furry fandom and others reflect individuals wants to find a kinder reality than real reality,
Yeah.
and that
And
ain't no shit.
I think for a lot of us, like, as we're being raised, and back in the 70s and then some, the books, if they're reading children's books, a lot of them had animals, whether anthropomorphized or not, because they could make them cute and fuzzy and friendly to the kids.
Right.
So it's really pulled from, like, oh, we need to make something good for the children, and expanded from there. Which
Oh shit! Sorry.
I do blame, now thinking about it. I'm like, no, I blame the adults. They turned us furry.
They
They're
made
the
us
ones who
furry.
were like, here's all these cute things for you. Oh, they just all happen to be animals.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
then I want to be one.
Timid just jogged my memory. Teddy Ruxpin. Oh my god! I just had a nostalgia flash. I completely forgot Teddy Ruxpin existed until just this moment. And oh my god, yes, I just remembered Teddy
Yeah.
Ruxpin.
Sammy and I were talking about it before we started. I had one. It's like pre-Furby. We'll get into toys later, but
the show was. I still.
yeah,
the
they had
theme
it
song
did have a show.
went
That's
free.
right.
Yeah, the theme
I
song
forgot I had a
went
show.
free in my head. To this day, I can probably still sing the whole damn thing.
I remember the bear in the books, but I forgot all about the show. Well, and even like I started with the turtles because they were huge for me growing up, but there were so many animal cartoons.
Quick,
I
do you
mean-
remember? I'm going to date myself. Quick, you might be the only one who remembers this. Samurai Pizza Cats and Biker Mice from Mars were two other ones I watched.
I remember the biker mice from Mars, and I kind of put them in the same like era as SWAT cats.
Ah, SWAT cats.
Yeah.
I don't remember it's Samurai Pizza Cats for some
Yeah, that-
reason.
Yeah, I don't know if that one was. I know that one was on. I don't know if that was just on Canadian TV or not. But oh, another question then. I like Teddy Ruxpin. I didn't like Babar, and I don't know if that was a Canadian thing or if that was
Babar. Oh yeah, I
Babar, yeah.
remember.
It was so boring. As a kid,
It
I watched
was!
it, and even as a kid, I'm like, this is so fucking boring.
Glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, I was like,
There
this
was
sucks.
Teddy Ruxpin coming on.
Sewer
Oh my god,
sharks.
sewer sharks. Oh,
Sewer sharks.
I didn't watch Sewer Sharks. I didn't see that one.
I knew the toys more than I knew the show for Sewer Sharks.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and then yeah, Thundercats. Thundercats was huge. I had several of the figures, but I used to. That was one that I watched religiously.
Oh, Street Sharks. That's a different one.
So Donna Marco says Star Fox. Well, hold on that one. We'll get to video games in a second. But Star Fox absolutely for me.
There was, for some reason, I want to say there was an animated series for a while for Star Fox. Maybe that's just me remembering something that didn't exist.
There were shorts where they had puppets.
Maybe that's
like
what I'm
shorts
thinking
or like
of.
an ad where they had the marionettes. Or was
Yeah.
it marionettes or just puppets? It was just puppets, not marionettes. But
Yeah.
That
Well,
sounds like a
speaking of
nightmare.
puppets, I mean, look at the Muppets. The Muppets were huge even before our time.
Yeah.
oh god,
And they're
yeah.
all anthropomorphized
It
animals.
took me a second to realize, yes, they are in fact furry. I don't know Kermit the Frog. I don't know why it took me a second to realize. Oh yeah, he's an anthropomorphic. They're furries,
That-
yeah.
That's what I mean. Is these things people were making, or as it does go down the line, whether or not we realize it or not, the parents turned us furry.
I mean, but to that end,
Society turned us furry.
but to that end, Sesame Street, right? To little kids who are like learning educational television, Sesame
Right.
Street had furry characters, right?
And that was what we were. That's what we were put in front of. So
Yeah, that was
As
the
you're-
educational stuff.
yeah, as you're growing up, you're growing up with these. Oh, these are the things that I'm enjoying and making me happy, and especially if it's like you're struggling, with school or friends or something, and then you can go home and watch TV or read, and those were the safe places.
Right.
So why wouldn't you want to put yourself in one of those safe places?
Right. Well, now it's just the day-to-day stuff, right? Then you start
Yeah.
talking about, movies. The
Yeah.
the
Well,
big the big ticket, advertisements all everywhere, and it was a big deal to go to the movies back then. And
before we jump to
You
movies, can I
know.
ask one quick question? I'm having a moment here.
yes,
Are there any kids shows like any hosted kids shows that didn't have an animal themed mascot? Because I'm suddenly realizing Mr. Rogers had animal mascots in it. Here in Canada, we had Mr. Dress Up. He had animal mascots in it. Sesame Street.
Kid Nation. No animal
there
mascots.
I don't think I saw that one.
were a few like all the GI Joe stuff,
But like educational
cartoon-wise.
kids shows.
Oh,
yeah.
educational stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I think
Like-
there was at least one animal character per animation.
Right.
In almost all of them, right?
And
Yeah.
90% of the time they talked.
Yes.
Oh,
There was a
my
couple who
God.
talked, yeah.
Oh, I just had a. What the hell was it called? Zoobly Zoo.
Oh yeah, with the was it a monkey or a lemur?
No, Zoobly Zoo is a bunch of people that dressed it up like animals.
Yeah, I remember Zoobly
Oh,
Zoo.
I'm thinking of something else.
remember
forgot all
exactly what you're
about
talking
that.
about. It's like
I think it was
normal
a 90s
faces,
thing,
but
but
they have an animal. It's an 80s thing actually. It's
they had they put on it wasn't like fursuit. It was just like the one guy had like a fox nose.
Like makeup.
They were kind of creepy, but God, I forgot all about that.
Timid says Mr. Science, which I didn't see. I don't know if it's like me being Canadian. I didn't see that. And then Mephi says Zubumafu, which I thought was Canadian.
That's the one. I think that was the one I was thinking of.
Zubumafu, yeah.
Yeah.
Magic School Bus and the Lizard Companion.
Oh, Lizzie the
Yeah.
Lizard, yeah. Oh, Care Bears,
She didn't
obviously.
talk,
Oh, yeah,
though,
Care
but
Bears,
they did
jeez.
anthropomorphize her in ways.
The Care Bear movies
Let's get
traumatized me
together
as a kid.
In the bright sunny weather, let's all go to Gullah Gullah Island. Gullah Gullah.
Oh, there's Lamb Chops. Lamb Chops play along, which better than
Lamb
Canadian.
Chop, yeah.
That never
No, I remember Lamb
ends.
Chop.
Fuck yeah, Alf.
Alf.
Meph says
Alf.
Alf.
Man, the behind the scenes of Alf is the
Alf
best.
wasn't
Like,
for
everyone
kids. He
should
ate
see it.
cats.
He did eat cats. Sorry, I sidetracked. If we go to movies now, but I was trying to think if I could think of any kids shows like Mr. Rogers that didn't
Like
have an
public television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you didn't have to pay for cable. The
Bill
And yeah,
Nye.
like,
there you go.
yeah.
Bill Nye. Okay.
Yeah, Bill Nye was probably the only one. Because thinking about like just public access
Mr. Wizard.
television.
Did anybody else watch Mr. Wizard?
No.
No.
Oh, that was such a great show. I think it was on Nickelodeon, but he would do experiments. It was a science experiment thing. It was pretty cool.
Like different or Bill Nye.
Kinda.
It
Bill Nye was more
Nickelodeon
of a this
and
is how
Bill
science
Nye.
worked, but Mr. Wizard would actually do the experiments with kids. It was a pretty cool show.
No, I'm pretty.
But it
I don't
didn't
think-
have
I don't
it didn't
think
have
Big Comfy-
furries.
I don't think Big Comfy Couch, but they had anthropomorphized other things. I think the clock was anthropomorphized, maybe. I don't remember now.
Yeah.
Pee-wee's
A lot of the
Playhouse, oh
furniture
God.
was.
What is cat? The other white meat?
Because Alpha ate cats.
Alpha Cats,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm like, what? I never watched Alf. I wouldn't know. So
I still to this day have an Alf plushie. He's in my room right
Oh,
now.
you still have it.
I still have an Alf plush when I was like 4 years old.
That's funny. So yeah,
On to movies.
going to the movies as a kid was a big deal, right? Because we didn't, at least for me, because we didn't go all the time. It was when a new one came out that the whole family could go watch. Everybody went and watched it, and 90% of the times that was a Disney movie. And we all know Disney gets blamed for making more furries than anybody, probably
Is
for
it
good
wrong,
reason.
though?
They're in
Yeah.
the top. They're in the top 10. I think they're number 6 is a cause for being
As a reason.
becoming furry.
Well, think about it, because back then, like the oh, what do they call it? I don't remember what they call it. Something heyday. Like that one generation of furry movies. It was, you had The Lion King, The Little Mermaid,
Fox
even
and the
Aladdin.
Hound,
Yeah, and before that, right? Fox and the Hound, Robin Hood, of
Robin
course.
Hood. I know there's more, and I'm spacing out on them now, but I know there's more. Yeah.
Oh, there's so many more.
And that's
right?
just assuming Disney. But if you go to Amblin as well, there was my favorite, which was An American Tale.
American Tail was
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes, I love American Tail.
To this day, it's still Five Goes West is still one of my favorite movies to this day.
Yes.
And the reason why I almost was a mouse furry instead of a cat furry was precisely because I loved mouse characters from animation.
Yeah.
But you're from Canada,
That's
and there are
okay.
no cats in
Yes,
America.
Yeah, that's why I'm in Canada.
And the
obviously.
streets are lined with cheese.
But they had Tiger, and Tiger was adorable, and he was
Tiger
one of my
was
favorite
adorable.
characters ever.
Great movie.
Oh,
God.
Secret of Nim, absolutely.
Oh my God, yes. I watched. We had a VHS of The Secret of Nim, and I actually wore it out.
Once Upon a Forest, I think, was one, if I'm remembering correctly.
So
Sounds familiar.
I've got a list here of Walt
Oh,
Disney
hell yeah.
Productions.
Rescue Rangers, that's my jam.
Yeah, movies. Okay, and I'm gonna see if I can name all the ones that had
Rescuers and
some
Rescuers Down
kind of
Under.
anthropomized animal. Okay.
Just movies?
Yes, this is just movies.
It's gonna be a good chunk
So
of them.
in 1941 was Dumbo.
Yeah, obviously.
Of course.
No, there was no animals in that one. No animals.
42 was Bambi.
Again, no animals. None of them.
44 was
oh, yeah,
the
Fern
Three
Gully.
Caballeros.
Fern
Someone
Gully was
mentioned Fern
big,
Gully.
yeah.
Sorry, that was good.
46 was Song of the South. 50
Which
was
had anthropomorphized
Yeah.
animals, but nobody
we don't
knows it.
talk about Song of the South.
no. Cinderella in 1950.
Oh,
mice.
Oh, no, the mice.
The
Yeah.
mice, yes,
Alice in Wonderland in 1951.
of course.
Yes.
With
Dodo.
the dodo, the
Um,
Cheshire Cat, the
yeah.
gophers, so many. The cards, anthropomorphized playing cards. Come on.
Yeah.
John and Marco, Fern Gully had the bat that was played by Robin Williams. Which I
Yes.
didn't realize till years later that was Robin Williams.
Yeah. 1961, 101 Dalmatians.
I think there might have been an animal in that one.
One or two.
One or two. 63, Sword in the Stone.
That's where some people
Some
learned
of the
about
best
TF.
TF, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
that was some people's TF awakening.
Yeah. 64, Mary Poppins.
Yes.
It did have the penguins.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right,
and
yeah,
all the
yeah.
other characters in the
70, the
Oh, that's good.
Aristocats.
Obviously. One of my
Yeah.
favorite.
77, the Rescuers.
Yes. I loved Rescuers and Rescuers Down Under.
77 was also Pete's Dragon.
Oh, I forgot
good
about
one.
that one.
Yeah. 81, Fox and the Hound.
Oh my God. Don't know.
85, let's see, Black Cauldron was in 85.
Black Cauldron.
We don't talk about that one.
Hey, that's a good one. There's Gurky. Gurky.
The
just
Great
wants
Mouse
to be
Detective was in 86.
I've still never
Oh.
seen that one.
It's good.
88 was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Who did it?
Who done it?
Let's see, 88 was also Oliver and Company.
Oh, I still
I
cry.
love Oliver and
I still
Company.
cry at the beginning of that one.
Yeah.
Once upon a
90,
time in
1990
New York
was
City.
Rescuers Down Under.
Great film.
91 was Beauty and the Beast.
That might be a good
Anthropomorphized
one.
everything.
That was good until the end.
Yeah.
And that was some people's daddy's awakening.
Also, yes. Let's see. 95 was Pocahontas.
Was it Lion King also?
Miko.
96 was James and the Giant Peach.
Mm-hmm.
I think I ever saw
Let's
that one.
see.
That one's pretty good.
Oh, I like James and the Giant Peach. That's what I watched a lot.
When was Lion King? I thought it was 95. I'm way
Let
off.
me see. Yeah, I've got also. Yeah, I got another one. 55 was Lady and the Tramp.
My favorite. One of the inspirations. for
67 was
Tommy.
Jungle Book.
Oh yeah.
Love
Older.
Jungle Book.
73 was Robin Hood.
The best one with the gayest actor.
77, which is one of my personal favorites, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Oh yes.
Bear Winnie the Pooh.
Let's see.
Oh, good
89
question, Donna
was
Marco.
Little Mermaid. 92 was Aladdin. 94 was Lion King.
Was Donna Mar-
95 was a Goofy movie.
Was Homeward Bound Disney? It was, wasn't it?
It was Disney. And
Yeah.
that was one of the
Yeah.
fun movies where they just
Well, this-
recorded animals
yeah,
walking
this
and
is
then
more
dubbed over
just-
them.
Like the animated movies.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just got distracted by chat.
No, you're good.
We love
But that's the thing. That's like all the generation that we would have grown up with.
Right. And
Yeah.
every damn one of them had animals in it.
Yeah, I'd say about of all of those, like the ones I didn't say, like Snow White, I don't think had anything.
Yes, Snow White had everything. All the forest critters.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
but they weren't
forgot-
anthropomorphic.
I forgot
Well.
Pinocchio.
I guess.
Oh, the other TF movie.
Oh yeah, Donkey.
For some that was their donkey awakening.
Yeah, like there's so many that had some form of anthropomized animal.
Right.
that
Well,
it
and they
was
weren't,
just
you know,
everywhere.
Disney wasn't the only one. DreamWorks had a
No.
big part of it.
Yeah, and that's what I say. That's just Disney.
Yeah, not to mention Amblin, DreamWorks.
Yeah. Ah, Charlie.
Chaphogriff,
The other Charlie.
yeah.
The other
So-
me.
It's hard when when that is basically your everything as a kid. Like that's most of what you're seeing. So
Yeah.
of course you would find some kind of connection with those things, especially as you're growing up and you're going through, preteen struggles, teen struggles. You're gonna go back to those things that you felt comfortable with and made you feel safe. So, it makes sense that those are the things because that's what we were. That's
Yeah.
what we were being showed. Also, yes, Redwall was amazing.
Oh god.
Yeah.
What was horrifying though was Watership Down. Nightmare fuel.
Yeah. That came out when I was young
Absolutely.
enough to not understand what the hell was going on.
Oh god.
But I think now would be a good time to read one of the emails we got.
Yeah, because we can transition from media to toys and stuff, and I think this email from Basel the Dragon will be the perfect transition here. So Basil writes, "Hey, cast of For What It's Worth, my apologies for emailing on topic last minute. Sometimes my mind is slow, and I'm convinced I don't have anything to add. You're forgiven, Basil. Back in the 1980s, this is relevant to me, by the way. Back in the 1980s, when Lego minifigures became the form they are today, I was a gigantic Lego maniac. I had Lego Maniac magazines, so I'm right here with you, Basil. Let's see here. Became the form they are today. There was a line of figures that were anthropomorphic. They were rabbits, cats, sheep, lions, dogs, elephants, to name a few. It was part of a line called Fabuland, aimed at 3 to 7-year-olds that was produced from 1979 to 1989. Looking back now, I realize how young I was exposed to the idea of anthropomorphic characters. I'm throwing at you a picture of Lego Fabuland and a link to the history. So for those who are curious, it's Lego Fabuland. You can check it out. Thank you, Basil. That is fantastic. I was a huge Lego fan. I think those were a little bit early for me. I didn't see those, at least growing up. I've seen pictures since then, but I hadn't seen them growing up. But yes, those are awesome, and I can absolutely see why playing with those as a kid would spark thoughts and ideas decades later.
Yeah. I wasn't huge into Lego till I got later, like in my teen years, and then I was all machine and sciencey stuff. So.
Or were you into the Technic more than
Oh
the
yeah.
Lego?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I prefer Lego. I was old school Lego. Aquazone, fuck yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know if these ones in particular, I don't think I ever saw
The little mouse
Like,
character there is cute.
in person.
I think it's a mouse.
I think
So
so.
that's why it's like getting this. I was like, oh man, those are really cool. Like I can definitely see the enjoyment from them. And again, we're making things for kids. They're cute. They gotta
Right.
be friendly. So we're gonna make them animals.
Yeah.
Oh, I just
Well,
saw.
and
Sorry.
what?
Basil said, shout out to Sonic the Hedgehog Sad I Am cartoon. Absolutely. One of my
Oh,
favorites
yeah.
as a kid. Sorry, had to shout it out because that theme song also still lives rent free in my head to this day.
Right. Well, and any of the Disney ones, like Voss said, Rescue Rangers was the shit. Tailspin was
Tailspin.
awesome.
Bum, bum, bum,
DuckTales.
bum, bum,
DuckTales.
bum, bum, bum.
Yes.
Darkwing Duck. Come on.
Darkwing.
Oh my god, I forgot about Darkwing
Darkwing.
Duck. Oh, that was so good.
W. Darkwing Duck.
Okay, maybe I was a stupid kid, and this is probably true. For whatever reason, I couldn't get over the fact that Darkwing Duck was not the same character as Scrooge McDuck. I don't know why. Maybe just because they're both ducks and I'm stupid. I'm like, are they basically the same character? I don't know why.
They're in the same universe. If it makes you feel better.
Are they canonically in the same universe? Okay.
Yeah.
They both share a launch pad.
That's why I was confused. That's why I was confused because Launchpad was in them both, right?
Yeah, launch pads in both. of
Okay,
them.
I'm not nuts. I'm like, is this just like an alter ego of Scrooge McDuck or something? Okay.
I see why you get that because I also had a hard time differentiating DuckTales from Darkwing Duck. I thought they were the same show
Mhm.
for the longest time, and it wasn't until like I watched all of Darkwing Duck I was like, oh, and then you see Launchpad show up and you're like, who the fuck?
Yeah.
How the?
Who the whom stuff?
Who's the? Why the?
Whom stuff?
Yeah, who's the...
It's
So,
like
yeah.
Second City.
Yeah. Right.
So let's talk
Oh,
toys then.
Back to, I mean, the Teddy Ruxpin crossover, right? Because I had one as a kid.
I mean, I still can't believe you guys haven't even mentioned Pokemon at all. I watched
No.
that so
God.
much growing up.
That's its own media
Also,
empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, big ones
Hey.
for me were definitely Pokemon and Digimon.
Digimon.
Which is funny because that was like after me.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
after me. I mean,
Oh.
Pokemon was eventually what sort of got me into the furry fandom in a really roundabout way, but it wasn't me watching it. It was my little siblings who were watching it.
Right.
Oh,
So,
I'd argue with my brother because I'd be wanting to watch my Saturday morning cartoons, and he'd get up and be like, "I want to watch TV," and I was like, "No." And there was one morning where I stepped away to go to the bathroom during a commercial break, and he had changed the channel. I grabbed the remote and I beat him over the head with it.
Come on, Sammy. We have to
So
unite
violent.
all nations.
I know.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles doesn't make anyone violent, trust me.
No.
But
Yeah.
for toys, if we count video games here, then we can definitely include Sonic the Hedgehog and again my favorite, Star Fox. Growing up, I fucking loved Star Fox.
I don't know any furry that doesn't know Star Fox.
I actually know a few.
So obviously plushes were and still are
Plushes,
huge.
yeah.
But what one of the obscure ones that you might remember is the Wuzzles.
I heard about Wuzzles. I never got
You
into
never
it.
really?
I heard about them.
I miss my Bumble Lion. I loved that thing so much.
All right, Voss. Now you know what to get him for Christmas.
If you could find one. Holy shit.
That's probably not redonkulous amounts of money.
Yeah, right. But there was a lot of weird ones too, like from back in the 80s, because you had those, and then you had them. I don't remember what they were called, but they were like stress balls. They were squishy and they were balls, but they all had anthropomorphic faces, and most of them were really fucked up.
Don't think I know that one. I was gonna say koosh balls, but that's not the same thing. That's
No,
different.
no, these were actually they had characters. It was weird. And I also had a glowworm.
Oh my god, I forgot about those. I never had one, but I had a friend who had one.
Yeah, you'd squeeze them. The idea was you could hug them and they would light up. So you squeeze it and its head would light up. It was thinking back on it, it was kind of weird, but
That's like half the toys we played with though as a kid were just weird.
just weird. Obviously,
They had
Care Bears,
Pound puppies.
Pound
Oh,
Puppies,
pound
yeah.
puppies, yeah.
Which was kind of sad because they were all depressed and they came in
Yeah.
a little doghouse.
Yeah, because you got them from the pound. But
Yeah.
I had a pound puppy that I played with.
Yeah. And a lot of toys. Obviously, Thundercats had all their figures, and
Yeah, that was the other thing. Because you would have the shows, and of course,
then all the toys to go
marketing.
with them.
Yeah.
Beast Wars,
Oh.
the Transformers
Or-
from Beast Wars.
Yeah, or with some shows they did it vice versa, where they had the toy line and then made the cartoon after.
Fraggle Rock. Oh my God, I
Yeah,
miss
yeah.
Fraggle Rock so much.
It's back.
Is it?
Yeah, Apple TV's brought him back.
I don't have
The
Apple
originals
TV.
or like a remake of them?
It's the original studio, but it brought him back for a new season. There's like new episodes and stuff.
Oh,
It's really fun so far. It's on Apple, or
Interesting.
look it up with an ARG site. A little pirate
Arg.
site.
arg.com.
I had one year I got a truck. It was a monster truck. It was called the Animal, I think. But it was a monster truck that would it wasn't remote control or anything. You could just turn it on and it would go. But if it got to a point where it needed like a certain amount of torque was applied to the wheels, claws would actually come out of the wheels.
oh shit.
Oh yeah,
It was
Oh.
badass.
I'm looking at it right
I think
now. This
I've
thing's
seen
cool.
those before.
It was interesting.
Yeah,
But
you use the
Jesus.
claws to like climb
Yeah.
on stuff.
We have anthropomorphized vehicles.
Yeah.
And that was for
Mephistopheles is-
some people their awakenings of vehicle stuff.
Mephistopheles had what was sort of goading me into saying My Little Pony. I agree, My Little Pony, obviously a line that started. I did not grow up liking My Little Pony, though. It was not until I was an adult, I was in my 20s in grad school, that I got into Gen 4. But I will agree, My Little Pony was around, but it was not one
They
that I
were.
personally grew up with.
We don't talk.
I
about
had
the
cousins that had them.
Yeah. I had, so what was it? I think it was high school. I had a friend whose mother had collected My Little Ponies since their mom was young.
Wow.
And they had them on a shelf at like in their dining room up, so it just they just lined the room up near the ceiling
Right.
in their dining room. And I remember seeing them. I was like, wow. And she's like, oh yeah, those are my mom's. I was like, those are your mom's toys? What? But now I'm like, yeah, makes sense, because that's with our age, their mom probably grew up with My Little Pony.
Yeah.
So, and it just, again, it just goes from there.
I don't know if this one counts as toys or not, but I definitely had clothing. I had I used to race dirt bikes, and so I had a whole bunch of Fox racing gear clothing. Like every one of my shirts was Fox racing gear, and like I always just, I just like it because it's like associated with racing, but I loved the little Fox logo on it. I absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. So
They are big. And well, I had some Fox gear, but then I started buying other stuff because Fox is so expensive.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, that was my first like covert furry moment where I'm like,
Right.
I really
right.
like this for reasons other than just the fact that I raced dirt bikes. Like I would wear this if I wasn't, and so it was kind of like my way of like, yeah, just
Right.
being
Well,
in
that's
denial about it.
the covert furry thing, right? And that's kind of the thing, is the 80s and 90s were just rife with furry stuff, whether anybody actually realized it or not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this just came to my brain. I know we already talked about shows, but did anybody else watch Cat Dog?
Alone
my
in the
gosh.
world, little
Cat
cat dog.
dog. Cat dog.
Sorry. I
don't
was
know,
just like,
anybody
oh
that
my
didn't.
god, brain.
I can't believe I forgot about that show. I guess, do Ren and Stimpy count as anthro? I mean, I don't know what animals they were.
I
but-
They were a
think-
chihuahua and a
Well, yeah,
cat.
it was a chihuahua and a cat.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Just really stylized Chihuahuan cats.
There was even a talking horse. He was my favorite.
Yeah.
No, sir, I don't like it.
No, sir, I don't like it. I love
Well,
And the
that's
toast.
thing, 'cause
powder
that-
toast
Powder toast man.
thinking about it, not even just the
Oh.
shows that we were watching or the toys we were playing with.
Fuck yeah,
all of
Rocco's
the-
Modern Life. Sorry.
Rocco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of the like chain restaurants or brands. Most of them had some type of animal to appeal to the children,
Or still do.
or still
Yeah.
do, like Tony the Tiger
Yeah. So
the- and the
it wa-
Taco Bell dog.
it wasn't necessarily
Ronald
an
McDonald.
anthropomorphic animal, but does anybody remember the Noid
Oh,
from the
Ah,
Domino's
Noid.
commercials?
Avoid
Yeah.
the Noid.
uh,
So that's just like when it's so inundated everywhere.
Oh, they were so weird.
It's
Oh, Yogi
really
Bear,
no
yeah.
surprise.
Oh, Hanna-Barbera collection.
Oh yeah,
Ricochet
the
Red.
Laugh Olympics.
that's a reference that goes over my head.
Really?
Yeah,
You've never seen the Laugh Olympics?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was all Hanna-Barbera characters in the Olympics.
Oh, how have we gone this long without mentioning, by the way, Bugs Bunny, Mickey
Right.
Mouse? I guess you mentioned Disney, but yeah, Bugs Bunny and the whole all the Warner Brothers.
Any of the
cartoons.
Looney Tunes, yeah.
Yeah, Looney Tunes. Animaniacs.
I stand by my previous statements.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong.
All right. Well, I don't know about you guys. I think it's time to take a quick break. I need to go get some water, maybe a snack, and
Maybe start downloading some of these shows.
yeah, we'll go.
Yeah, right?
Be
Get the
like, wow, my
transporting.
brain is jogged. Let's go do some Google. So we'll be back here in, I don't know,
5
10
minutes or so?
minutes maybe, and we'll continue on.
Before we continue this show, we would like to thank a few of our sponsors. And our sponsors, I mean the guys that keep stealing the cookies out of my cookie jar. I've got a list of culprits, and I'm going to list them all in a very aggressive way. Barnaby Panda, Lou Duck, and Nuka definitely ate all the triple chunks. Basel the Dragon, Black Baldrik, and um, it's this one's hard. Itchy. Oh man, I'm itchy. Ichigo Ookami, Lufis the Raccoon. I'm watching you, and just gonna call him Eli. Plug and Tenax. They definitely ate the raisin ones, which is fine. They can have those. Chaphogriff, Lygris, Ausi Kat, and Christian. I feel like I know you. Citrus Fox, Icy Solid, Sage Light Thing. Yeah, you guys definitely are the circus cookies. Tired 52 and Victor Mutt. You guys are cool. We'll hang out later. I got double, triple, choc, dunk.
Yay, music.
Nice thing. Without Rue here, we can actually enjoy it.
Yeah, right.
Okay, can I say before we start? Every time I see or hear Icy Solid, I always think it's a brand of deodorant.
Icy Solid.
It sounds like a brand of deodorant to me. I don't know.
Got Bio, get Dio.
It was me.
So bad.
Dio.
So,
Well,
jumping
as
back
always,
into the
thank you,
topic.
patrons.
Yes. So maybe I think we'll switch gears. Like we've talked about outside stuff that made us furry, whether we liked it or not. Let's talk about a little bit about the past fandom itself, right? Because
Yeah.
some of us have been in the fandom for long enough that things have changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you
Some
like
of us are
me
old.
to
Some of
start
us
with
are
the
not old
email?
enough.
I think that'll be a good
Yes,
way to get into
we
it.
have another email that's very relevant.
Cool. All right. It says, "Hi peeps, it's Misky the Chinchilla emailing from Furcation, so I won't be able to watch the live stream. I didn't
We're very
really consider
disappointed.
myself much of an experienced furry until the owner of a chat I'm in introduced me as one of the oldest members of the group.
Whoa.
And having been around the fandom a long
Them
time,
fighting words.
I'm approaching gray muzzle age. I prefer the mid-30s definition because that's the cutoff I've seen kink events use too. But I can't think of anything that's changed enough whilst I've been in the fandom to get nostalgic about it. People undervalued their art hugely in the past, and it always pleases me to see artists and fursuit makers charging appropriately for commissions now, even if that means I can't afford it. I guess some people might get nostalgic about cheaper art and fursuits, but not me. I look forward to listening back on the episode later. From a caravan in England, Misky." So
I feel old.
I know.
I don't know
I
how
prefer
I
the
would
mid
feel.
30s cutoff.
Yeah.
Oof.
And I don't know how I would feel if someone was like one of the oldest members and having been around for a long time. I'm like,
I mean, I've got the data on it, and every year I creep further and further to the right on the age distribution, and it's not getting any better.
Because there's not many new of us coming in.
Well, I don't know about that. I think there's plenty of new furries.
Well,
No,
there's
but
plenty of
new-
new
new-
furries, but
new
not
older
our
furries.
age.
Yeah, that's
That's not true either, though. I've actually been to conventions and seen like furries who are like, oh, I'm 55 years old, and I've just gotten into the furry fandoms. I've definitely seen some of those folks. So they're around, but they're not many of them. You're right.
Yeah. I think it is a lot of something that we age. I don't want to
But-
say we age out of, but not age into.
That's its own separate episode. I could do a whole
Yeah.
rant on that, and I'll stop myself.
Yeah, that's a whole different subject.
I know,
Well,
but it's important, maybe.
let's do old man yells at clouds moment here and talk about how the fandom has changed since or maybe a nostalgia more than like a
Right.
yeah.
We've already done the furry history thing, but
Yeah.
like I remember when I first started being on the like Yahoo forums, right? It was text only. I didn't really start in the furry muck 4chan stuff, but I did start in Yahoo groups,
Mhm.
right? And back then it was purely text. It was all,
Yeah.
I mean, the original RP stuff, and
Yeah.
which,
Yahoo groups and forums.
Regional
right?
forums. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually preferred that because, and again, I'm going to be an old man here. I prefer that because things moved at a reasonable pace. Like now, I cannot keep up with Telegram groups. Like I leave my computer for an hour and I come back and there's 500 new messages and I'm lost and out of it. But a forum, you can say, okay, there's been 8 new messages since I last checked today, and
Right.
It did make a difference in regards to like the speed of replies.
Mhm.
You felt like you could sometimes think and process. And
Yeah,
now, and I think that's really just because we have computers in our pockets. Like,
yeah.
if we were still doing forums or forum style things, whether it was just how easily we could access devices to reply.
I'm just kind
Right.
of. I always assumed forums would hang around. I assumed that like Telegram groups and stuff would have their place, but I figured forums would stick around, and maybe that's me being naive. They're basically gone. Like I don't see regional forums anymore. But that was always like when I got into a new area, the first thing I would check for is where's their regional forum, and I can jump onto that and get involved in that.
Yeah, yeah. But there are something that I was actually thinking about earlier that I I don't know, maybe I'm just not looking in the right places anymore. But one thing I always really enjoyed seeing, and it was kind of popular to do like early mid 2000s, was like furry styled music videos or like the convention music videos, like Duke the Dancing Dog and those kinds
Mm.
of videos. Um, I always loved watching those, and they would always do like behind the scenes kind of stuff. Uh, I don't see those anymore. I don't know if that's a thing people do anymore.
I know that at like a convention, some conventions will have like opening videos where it's like, oh, here
Right.
we're opening our convention. We have this like little 3 or 5 minute little opening silly video kind of thing. But I'm not sure that's what you're talking about.
No, this would be um like somebody. So Duke the Dancing Dog was a would he was just an attendee, and he would just get people together and just shoot a video. And what you could do is he before the convention, like a month or something, he'd send out a, hey, I need, we need people for this dance scene that we're going to do in the courtyard or whatever. And he'd send, you could sign up, and he'd send like the choreography so you could practice at home before the
Hmm.
con. And then it was, okay, we're going to meet up XY day.
Kind of like a flash
um
mob, sort of.
Kind of, yeah,
Kinda. He
but
would set it up, and it was all a
and
choreographed thing.
yeah, and it was to like specific songs and things like that. I should see if I can find one and send it to
Well,
you. You
it's
probably
funny
know it.
because you're like, I was thinking about that the other day, actually. That you just don't see the same kind of con videos you used to. Like
Yeah,
now you've got a few people who do like a con recap. They'll go through the entire convention, pick out clips, and make a con video.
Or stuff on the fly, like social media, like on TikTok. You're like, oh, hey,
Right,
I'm at such and such con, and here's 30
right.
seconds of me there.
yeah,
But yeah, when I first started getting into furry, it was I'd turn on YouTube and it would just watch furry parade videos and furry con videos and just
yeah,
weird little stuff that people would put together. And maybe they're still out there. I'm like Sammy, I'm just not looking in the right places anymore, I guess.
yeah. That's one thing that I've realized I realized a little while back that I missed seeing those kinds of videos, and there is still, I don't know if any of you know who Big Blue Fox is. He do
Mhm.
the BBF videos.
Is he
But
the
his are
fox
always,
that lives in a
like,
big blue house?
yeah. He does like more like convention, like I don't want to say like documentary style, but they're more just like going around and seeing people. But he always had these really cool. I mean, he still does them. I don't think he does them as much, just number convention wise. But
Mhm.
he still does them where it's him. He's got multiple people with cameras, and they just do like a big like hour-long video just covering whatever the convention was.
Hmm.
And those were ones that I watched a lot when I was younger or starting in the fandom. And, because it was watching conventions, because I always like going to conventions for other things. I didn't get to go to furry conventions right away. So it was fun to kind of experience them in that way.
All right, well, I'm going to make everyone in this room feel very old. So
Okay.
recently, while I was at Stanford, the Stanford club is pretty young, right? Because it's all university attending students, right? So they're all like 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old furries. And afterwards, we were sort of chatting over dinner, and I had mentioned like the CSI video or something, and most of the people at the table were going, "What's that?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What?" The Vanity Fair
Yeah.
article, the CSI episode, Thousand Ways to Die, and they just like they had no idea. And I'm like, not that I'm nostalgic for these things, but I'm like, oh, like this. There's entire pieces of media or things that were like central talking points in the furry fandom 15, 16 years ago that are just completely off the radar of younger furries today.
Yeah. No, I've had similar incidents of, yeah, it's not something that they've ever encountered or known about.
Yeah.
And it's it is a little weird. It does kind of throw you for a loop in that moment. You're like, wait a minute. This was like everybody knows this.
Then you realize that those videos were like older than a lot of furries today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
they're
Yeah.
like, oh, this
Yeah, that
happened
came
before
out
they were
before you were
born.
born.
Yeah.
One thing that gets
Yeah.
me, one thing that's sort of strange to me is going through like um dealers dens, and there were always when I was getting into the fandom and stuff, there were always like a handful of artists who were like everyone kind of agreed these are like the big names in the fandom, like your Dark Natasha, Max Black Rabbit, Michelle Lyon. These are names that just like everyone knew at the time. And then like I don't know if there's any artist that I can think of nowadays. Like take Dark Natasha. Oh, I guess Miles DF maybe. Another big one. But like I can't think of very many artists who are like agreed upon it. Like this artist that like most people in the fandom know.
Right. A fandom wide phenomena.
Yeah, there aren't many of them. At least it feels like there's fewer of them today than there were. Like there's just more artists than there ever were, but it
Yeah.
feels more fragmented. Like there's not, a handful of artists that everyone knows.
Mm.
Right. Well, not necessarily that's a bad thing because now there's just more people who are talented and showing it.
It is also weird to see the composition of dealers dens change because it used to be like overwhelmingly just artists everywhere, like 1,000 places you could get a badge done or get custom commissions. And now I would say a third of the dealers den is like builders, another third is like clothing and merch and stuff like that. But yeah,
Right.
it's like a lot of fursuit builders and merch stuff, and like far fewer artists than there
Just
used to be.
just artists. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Right.
seen. Well, so I'd say because BLFC was the most recent con I've been to, and they still had a decent. There was still a decent amount of folks that were doing like badges and things. I
Mhm.
think the biggest thing is like at con badges or like at con sketchbooks and things.
Yeah.
That's definitely reduced. There are more people who are their take home. You know,
Yeah.
and that's to maybe they can take more that way, and then it's a little easier work wise. There are definitely some that are still like, we'll do at con, but we only do so many in a day kind of thing,
Mhm.
and then after it's take home. The other thing, like you're saying, yeah, not a lot of just straight, all it is art. There's a lot of people now expand out into different kinds of merchandise and
Different
things, but I
media.
think
Yeah.
that also pertains to the fact that like being able to get things manufactured
Mhm.
and made, and to make those things either by manufacturer yourself is now easier to do,
And for the
because
record, I'm all
I
for that. I love
yeah
standees. Love
yeah
them.
I'd say probably like 80s, 90s, early 2000s, if you weren't a business with buku money, getting something to be manufactured was really expensive.
Mhm.
But now, as those things have changed, and it's easier for factories to do smaller batches of things or things like that, I think it's just, as technology has changed and other things have changed, it's just there are things that have made it easier. And I think it's also just, the other thing too is just what people look for. More people, I think, I think more people are more comfortable having furry memorabilia, furry
Merch.
stuff, where they're gonna put it on their backpacks, or they're gonna wear the shirts, or they're
Stickers,
gonna
patches,
put it on their
shirts.
car. I think that just because it's become more, I don't want to say recognized, but more common,
Mhm.
I think people are now more wanting
It's
to
been
do those things,
destigmatized.
which then pushes the artists to make those things as well. But that's just speculation.
Also, just smaller conventions too. Like I know with conventions are just growing so quickly. I can remember going to a convention of 300 people, and there aren't many of those anymore.
Right. Even brand new startups have more than that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Gone are the days of, I'll just book the room the week before, it'll be fine. Now you have to
Yeah,
plan
I'm
it.
nostalgic for that. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, this convention's happening in 2 months. Cool. Yeah, let's go. We'll plan it and just
We
book
could just,
everything and off you go.
yeah.
I remember going to I think it was the second furry fiesta, and it was it was sub 1,000 people. I think it was like 800 people or something, and it is not today.
Yeah.
Today I think it's pushing close to 10K, 7 or 8K, I think, like
Wow.
that. So, yeah, which is even small peanuts now when you consider Anthrocon next year is planning on they're accounting for the possibility of like 25,000 or something like that. So
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I heard,
And
and
capping it.
yeah, and Tim says, like, I heard that they're like, we're gonna have to cap attendance,
yep.
which, that is absolutely wild in my brain. That does not make
I
sense in my brain.
I think the first
Yeah.
Anthrocon I went to was sub 5,000. So
And that's the funny thing,
Wow.
because Anthrocon, specifically Anthrocon, I don't know if people feel it like this today, but I feel back of the day, back in early days, Anthrocon was like the mecca.
yeah,
It was the if you're it's your it was your furry pilgrimage convention.
yeah. If you're a true furry, you've gone to Anthrocon. And
Yeah,
there's just more regional furry conventions now. You have more choice of conventions to go to.
yeah, which can make it easier to attend conventions for some, because like I never afforded to go to Anthrocon, and I still could probably not afford to go to Anthrocon.
Like, there were a couple of big ones, like the MFF, TFF for the Confusion, Rainforest for a few years.
It's like
Um,
Rainforest doesn't exist.
yeah, But but you had a few ones. But if you weren't anywhere near one of the big ones, you kind of were out of luck. You either had to go to a big one or you just didn't. But now there's a whole bunch of, and I'd say most states have a furry convention these days.
Yeah, well, at least most
Yeah.
regions.
Yeah, most regions at least. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. I could think of maybe like 3 states off the top of my head that don't have furry cons.
Right, but they're within
I mean,
They're-
Alaska.
within driving distance, right? Basically.
Actually, I think Alaska has a furry con, or they did have a furry con. But I might be
I'm
wrong.
looking now.
I mean, even Idaho used to have a furry con.
I
Yeah.
don't- Oh, there's the Anchorage Fur Rendezvous. Oh no, I think it's something different. No, that's a winter festival. That's not a
Yeah.
furry convention. Yeah.
The Anchorage Fur Festival is way different. It's not a furry con.
Oh, but there have been talks about having a furry convention in Alaska.
That's the fur festival furries don't want to go to.
Right. So speaking of furs, what about fursuits? Like, I remember even when I got in, and I personally I love homemade fursuits, because if you have the ambition to go and make your own fursuit, I think that's fantastic.
They're rough, and there's a certain charm to that do-it-yourself attitude.
Don't get me wrong. Bought fursuits are fantastic, and they're getting amazing. And there's people that make a living off that, but there's just something about somebody making their own fursuit that just appeals to me. And back in the day, that's kind of how it had to be, because there weren't so many makers.
Well, and
That's all they did.
did you ever go on the fursuit making live journal?
I didn't do much with LiveJournal. I tried, but it was confusing.
Yeah, that was the only thing I did on LiveJournal was the furry stuff and the fursuit making stuff, and it was always interesting to see, because early on it was all right. You frame the head with the plastic. I don't know what it was, like plastic mesh that they used.
Well, it was
for-
it's not needlepoint. What the hell is it? You
Yeah,
you
it's like
you put yarn through it and make designs, but that was a lot of people have heads out of that stuff.
yeah. That was your frame, and then you foamed it, and then you filled it all in, and now it's
There's an
it's
entire
like,
industry.
I 3D printed this head base and did that.
Right.
Or you can buy a prefabricated stuff.
Buy
right?
a
Yeah.
base,
Yeah.
which is probably what I will do for the next one. But yeah, I mean, and people don't joke about it now as much as they used to. But way back when, fake fur wasn't readily available, so there were fursuits literally made out of carpet.
Yeah. Shag carpet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was very
the
much a
innovators doing what they can with what they had.
yeah, you use what you can get. But I remember I tried making a suit head back in the day. It didn't go well. I ended up buying like a base, but I still furred it myself and all of that, and it was fur that I bought from Joanne Fabric.
Uh-huh.
That was now I'm like, it's such bad quality fur.
It's so bad. I
Yeah.
still have both of my original fursuits that I made
Yeah,
with surely with materials from Joann's.
yeah.
And not. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and my pattern was I took old clothes and cut them up to make the pattern.
And not to get us too onto a discussion we've had before, but I mean one nostalgic sort of difference in the way people fursuit, right? So the whole question about is it performance art versus poodling and popping the head on and off. It was different back at the time. We don't have to talk at length about it, but that was a difference in the way people fursuited and how common fursuits were.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because I feel advances in technology have very much influenced fursuit making,
Mhm.
which is really cool because now there's things that they're doing. Like I said, they're 3D printing, head bases and foot bases and putting all kinds of wild electronics and stuff.
Yeah, just the
and
electronic stuff.
It's
Oh,
just
protogens in general, all the tech
amazing.
that goes into protogens.
Oh, I can do it.
I could play Doom on my friend's face.
They probably could. Ooh, we need to find a protogen and ask.
Can we
So-
run Doom on your face?
Yeah.
One thing about that is like you feel. Again, we could make a whole episode out of it, but you kind of start to
Okay,
feel
cool.
like you're getting left behind, right? With a normal fursuit, right? My fursuits don't have all this technology and servos and moving parts and electronics and
It used to be distinct enough to just have a fursuit, but now if you have just a normal fursuit, what's the gimmick? What's the shtick? Yeah.
But that's kind of one thing that I want to put out there is, don't ever feel like you're being left behind, because I still go out in my fursuits and I feel just fine about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's as long as
And
you're
like I
happy
said,
and enjoying it.
yeah, and making your own, I still think it's fantastic. If you have the ambition and the nuts to go make your own fursuit, go for it.
Yeah.
As Timid says, the best fursuit is the one with the great performance. Absolutely.
Yep. And there's people who
sorry.
are like, I made my fursuit. It's the first one I made, and I look at it and I'm like, that's fucking professional quality build there. How is that your first?
And I hate you for it.
Yeah. It's like I was lucky my first one stayed together.
One thing to mention as well, I guess this is going back to the art one a little bit, but perhaps a lost art, or maybe I just don't know where to look anymore. Webcomics. I can remember late 90s, or mid to late 90s, maybe early 2000s. Webcomics were huge. Furry webcomics, dime a dozen. It was like a golden era for furry webcomics, and I don't know if there are nearly as many today, or at least if they are, they don't have the same following or renown in the fandom that they used to. I mean, the ones I can think of now are still the ones that are still trudging along from 20 years ago. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if anyone else thinks the same way, but
Well, I think it was like it's another technology thing. Social media makes everything so available now. Because back then you had to wait. Like people would come out with webcomics and then they had episodes and you would wait for them to come out. And now everything's so damn instant.
I guess you just post it on social media. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, is House
Yes,
Pet
house
off?
pets.
Oh, is it gone now? I didn't know if it was still around or not. I thought it was still going.
Oh, I mean, he's still making
Well,
art.
he's still making comics and arts, but yeah,
He
I
might
think
be
house
done with
pets
house
is done.
pets specifically.
I know that Save State, Lackadaisy Cats, and I Think I Like You are some of the newer web comics that a lot of people have been really getting into.
I do. Yeah, Lackadaisy is great.
See, I can't really speak on web comics because I never really was one that read them a lot. I don't know why. It just, for some reason, it wasn't something super on my radar.
It was a very particular time. Like I don't know how long it was a thing for, but I think it's a particular age of furries. Like, but it's this little sweet spot where if you were on the internet and furry interested, there was this ton of web comics available for you that aren't really. Litterbox Comics is also great. Yes, as a newer one. Yes, although I don't know if the artist is furry, but the comics themselves are definitely furry coded, if nothing else.
that goes back to it. We make things cute and fun. They're gonna be animals.
Shout out to VG Cats. To any OGs out there who remember VG Cats.
I think maybe the other thing too is maybe when I would have gotten into web comics, everyone was talking about oh god, Homestuck,
Oh yes.
and I did not enjoy that. So it might have put me off of that.
I think I would have gotten into Homestuck if I could, but I think I tried to get into it like too far into the middle. I'm like, I'm not gonna do all the back reading and even try. There's too much here.
Yeah.
Let's
Cool.
Oh. Well,
Should we transition into final thoughts?
I think so.
Wow, 2 hours long.
Yeah, not bad. So, Nuka,
Yes.
what are your final thoughts?
As an old man, I will say that things were better back in the day. No, it's easy. You know, I do love nostalgia. I always thought it when I was younger. I always thought, I'll never get nostalgic, and I'll be one of those older people who's always up and hip with the times. And now that I'm one of those older people, I'm like, oh, I have a certain fondness for nostalgia that I didn't think I would ever appreciate. And it's not in a, oh, there's nothing good today. I absolutely love the new stuff today. But yeah, it's nice every once in a while to go down a nostalgia rabbit hole and just get completely lost. And like I was joking during the break, I'm absolutely going to be queuing up a bunch of torrents for old stuff, old movies and TV shows and stuff. That's going to be my week this week in all my spare time now.
What about you, Charlie?
As the
You youngin'.
youngest fur here, I'll say, boy, you guys had a lot of weird stuff back then. A lot of
Sure did.
bara men. I think that's what kind of made a lot of you guys into big buff men, and what made me deter from that, because I said, oh no, that's too many muscles. And I went with
That's
other things like Sangwon Cat and Lion King and Lady and the Tramp, Disney movies, Disney cartoons, anything that had a talking animal I fell in love with. And I even played and still have most of my little Beanie Baby friends since those good old days. I don't know if we ever had a chance to talk about Thai Beanie Babies, but there's at least a couple.
I guess they're not anthro, but they're absolutely still animal themed, and they were
I made them
huge.
anthro, and that's what started it. Started it all. But no, it's always fun hearing how different people with different quirks and different perks really grow up with the works into how they became a fuzzy, or things that they see now back then that now make them appreciate the new, especially with the super young furs that come in and they explain things like Roblox or other kinds of, and it's also like things that are nice to hear of, like the CSI episode is no longer a reason people know the furry fandom. They just know it because the furry fandom has already existed and they went that way. And I'm just like, oh, thank God, I don't have to explain that episode to people. 'Cause that's like the first thing you would always tell people, like, well,
It's
I'm
like,
a furry, and they look at you like,
okay.
oh, you're into that part. And it's like, okay, no,
Yeah.
let me explain. Let me explain. Now it's like, I'm a furry, and they're like, okay, whatever. And it's like,
Oh, I saw
yes,
something like
we
that on
don't
TikTok.
care.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's been fun to have that transition, and it's been super cool. And I love going down a nostalgia trip anytime, even if it is a never-ending hole.
It could go forever.
It really could. What about Sammy?
Oh, what about me?
What's your thoughts? What's your final conclusion?
I'm a dog. I don't have thoughts.
That's so true. Moving on.
NFT.
Honestly, like, it's great. I love what people enjoyed. I will forever now pound my drum saying it was the entertainment that made us who we are. I will blame the adults. The older adults. Cuz yeah, it's what we came to love and be comfortable with, and it helped us find us. But
Us.
Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff, and there will forever be cool stuff, and I'm excited to see the other cool stuff that will continue to come out. What about
about-
Voss?
Me?
Voss, do you have thoughts?
Yeah, you guys are all old.
Except me, right?
So old. You guys, I mean, at least Charlie has the Riz.
Hooray!
The
Yeah.
what?
Charlie's the oldest young person.
True.
Charlie's got that cap. He's totally not Ohio.
He's
No,
no
no.
cap. He's running around with a skibbity.
He's got that skibby.
Nothing is funnier and more cringe than old people using the lingo of young people. I do as a prof, I do it to my students just to make them really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh man, they don't got the sauce for that. And they'll just like, oh god, Dr. Plant, stop saying that. Please stop. Please don't.
Doctor, no!
Charlie is lit.
I'm lit. I'm the
Lit.
goat, baby.
He is
Got
the
that-
goat.
Yeah.
He's the Rizzler, I told you.
How about you, Click?
You damn youngins.
That's your final thought, you damn youngins.
You damn youngins.
Stay off my lawn.
No, we had a lot of cool stuff growing up. We had a lot of weird, screwed up stuff growing up. It was an interesting time.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Do we have anything else in the mailbag?
No,
no,
we
there's no
we got
mailbag.
relevant emails. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
We
no
do
mailbag.
like getting any emails, whether it's relevant or not, though.
Yes.
Please don't sign us up for spam.
Yeah,
We don't like those emails.
I don't like those.
No, we like emails pertaining
However-
to the show.
If you send an email that's a parody of a spam and you do a really good one, that's funny.
We might like
I'll
that,
read
yeah.
I'll read that. Send a
As
fake ad.
always, you can find us on our site at forwhatitsworth.com. We are on the social medias. We are on we're still on Twitter for now. We'll see.
Forward
Blue
migrate.
Sky, Mastodon, Facebook. You can just find us all there for what it's worth. We do have a Telegram channel if you'd like to get into a group chat with other listeners and other fun folk. Go ahead and reach out. Best thing to do would be to reach out to Rue at Wine Red Fox on Telegram, or you can message us on any of the social accounts, and we can get that taken care of.
We're on Blue
You
Sky
can-
too.
You do have to be over
or-
the age of 18.
Yes, it is an 18 plus channel. You can send us emails as well. You can email us at cast at for what it's worth, or you can email any of the cast at their own emails. Just be their first name. So like Nuka at for what it's worth, or Click at for what it's worth. And yeah, send us, we love to hear about your thoughts on past episodes, or if there's things in a topic that we didn't cover, or whatever. Sometimes it'll get on the air, sometimes it won't. It depends. And we do have a speak pipe where you can send us audio messages if you'd rather do that other than an email. And with SpeakPipe, we do also love to get what are called idents, which are something that we are required to do, where we go basically say, you're listening to For What It's Worth, because that's what they tell us we have to do. We have to tell people who we are at points in the show. So you can do that via SpeakPipe, or if it's easier, you can just email us audio files. And if you enjoy the show, or if you think you know someone who might enjoy the show, share it with them. Everything we do is word of mouth. We don't really have any kind of advertising or anything like that. So if there's anyone you think would enjoy it, maybe a particular episode or just the show in general, share it around. We love to find new folks to listen and hopefully learn some things from them and us.
New folks with different strokes. That's how we
Yeah.
get more material.
So next episode is going to be something a little more naughty. We're going to be talking about kinks, specifically common, not so common kinks in the fandom. So what that means, that's basically going to be what are kinks or things that furries are into that you typically don't see outside of furry. So lots of things. I mean, the biggest things I think that come to my brain are things like, I don't know, or paws or things
Moz
like that.
and
Macro.
Paws. The furry fight.
So we'll be announcing when we'll be recording that episode and emails on the social media accounts. So keep an eye out, and we'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on those kinds of things. Is there anything we missed?
I think that's everything.
I think that's everything. Well, how about we sign off then?
Okay.
This has been Sammy.
And click.
Somebody go.
Cowabunga.
Think Charlie missed the train.
I usually last.
I usually last.
That's why we're waiting for this battle.
Yep.
I think we just need to have a turn order.
Anyways,
This was
so I
what
guess
you
this
were-
has
worth.
been
For what
For
it's
what
worth.
it's worth.
What it's worth.
Back
Yay.
in my day, we used to be better syncs. We used to have metronomes for this.